talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's called...
You are now listening to Lauer Radio.
Let's get it.
So it is SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
At Tanagra, when the walls fell, this is Dan Owens coming at you another time for Lauer Road Radio with my co-host, as always, Jason.
Whoop, whoop.
Here in the Daffy Down studio, wearing a Daffy Down hat. If you want to get some merch like that or similar to it, go to daffydown.com. Jesse's here, wearing an All-American Soapbox Derby 2000 hat.
Yep.
63rd place?
I don't know.
That's what that is?
Something like that. Yeah, a little bit of...
Mm-hmm.
And
it fits you well.
it does.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Goodwill purchase or you participated?
I think I bought it in like a bulk vintage hat box, and I liked it. But it does fit me well. And I must say, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
That's a teaser to what's up next. Preston is not here today, so
Yes!
we have no czar of information. And Stella is on the ones and the zeros. How you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing good. It's a little wet outside.
It's a little wet. Mm-hmm. It's rainy.
Some might say moist.
It is moist.
I'm still struggling with the wet. Like, can you feel wet?
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm convinced that you can feel wet. It's not just a
Apparently you
temperature thing.
can't.
Yeah.
Science.
You
But if
don't
you-
have receptors for it, Jason. It's a temperature thing.
I don't believe it.
Or resistance. You can feel the resistance of water.
If there was a glass of water sitting on the table and it was room temperature and I stuck my finger in it, I would feel the wetness.
I don't think it'd have to be room temperature. I think it'd have to be the exact temperature of your finger.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're wrong. We got stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
Pour one out, or however they say, for
The juice.
The juice is finally loose. And
Is that juicy fruit?
OJ is
The
no
juice
longer.
is loose.
I think
Gonna
the juice is
move,
loose.
yeah.
Isn't the juice is loose just what they used to say when he ran away, like from the
Run away.
either the
Police.
linebackers or the cops? I think that's what they used to say.
I think it's an advertisement that he latched onto.
I see. So OJ Simpson
Not
passed
a Jew.
away. No, OJ Simpson, not a Jew.
But you know who it is? Rod Carew.
Hall of Famer Rod Carew.
He converted.
You don't know what that is?
No.
It's an Adam Sandler song.
Adam Sandler is the
I
best.
figured
His
the
honk.
way you were saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, put on a yarmulke. I don't know why that was as funny as it was. I go back and watch it. I'm like, it was the peak of comedy at
Yeah.
the time, though. And now
Red
it's just,
hooded sweat.
I prefer Red Hooded Sweatshirt over even the.
I like
song.
the.
Wasn't there a dreidel one too?
He's got one for everything.
Yeah.
I like newspaper face. Hi, I'm newspaper
I like
face.
newspaper
I've
face.
got a newspaper as a face.
Listen, we're not here today to talk about Adam Sandler.
but we are because I've got it in my notes.
Oh, okay. Is it your Netflix suggestion of the week?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Boy Blob submitted a request, Mount Rushmore, and he might make the list.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We'll get to that.
Well, OJ passed today.
Cancer.
And
the big C.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. Do we want to do the OJ Simpson
Sure.
Mount Rushmore?
Yes.
Football.
Of football or of
No, just the
Just
OJ Simpson
OJ.
Mount Rushmore. Things OJ Simpson. Football. Bad acting.
murder?
And
It's either white. It's got to be white Bronco
white Bronco.
Yeah.
or
It's hard to see a
or
white
small glove.
Heisman Trophy?
It's hard. That's but football.
take that from
is
him?
the first one. If they can catch him.
Well, he got caught at least once.
yeah.
Now he's, we don't want to make light of it. But,
Yeah, we do.
he did
He murdered
get
two
away
people.
with murder,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is not cool.
I think everybody agrees that he's guilty.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Did you guys ever see this lady followed him around for like 24 hours, like a reporter, and like questioned him and spent time with him, did this whole story, and then he said he had a surprise for her, and he
I
showed
saw
up at
that.
her hotel room, and she opened the door, and he had a banana, and he was like,
Oh,
acting
yeah.
like he was stabbing her, and
Like
then
it's a joke.
apparently, after that, like the following year, on April 1st, he called her. He's like, "Hey, it's OJ. I just want to let you know I did kill him. I did kill her." And she was like, "What?" And he goes, "April Fool's," and hangs up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not an innocent
one
man.
thing that I've learned about murder mystery shows, and I think they've taught me a lot about the human condition, is that the killer wants to confess. He does. He wants to confess, even though he's hidden it, even though he doesn't really want to be found out. There's something in us that we want to confess. And I think OJ, he wrote a book called
How I Might Have Done It.
If I Did It, How I Would Have, or
Yeah.
something like that, which is insane. He is a crazy person, obviously.
Also, I think it's like a credit thing. It's not like I want to confess. It's like I want to get credit for murdering people.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Maybe.
I do think from all the shows that I watch, Dateline, 2020,
How to Catch a Predator.
How to Catch a Predator, all that stuff, it seems as though, from listening to the coppers, that if you are overly interested or underly interested,
Yeah, I hear you.
then you are
If
a
you're
prime suspect.
you don't want to avoid them or seek them out.
Correct. Yeah. The people that are like active in the case, that guy's into it.
Yeah.
Way too much. And the guy that's avoiding it altogether, why is he avoiding it?
Right.
There's an appropriate level of
It'd
interest.
probably also be good if they didn't have audio evidence of you breaking down how to not get caught. That's suspicious.
Well, if they ever look at my Netflix, they're going to see hours and hours and hours of like,
Do you think that they do
Murder
that
stuff.
sort of
Yes.
thing?
yeah.
They
Well,
like,
we'll have to get Ray Grogan on. He would know.
yeah, Ray would know. Do you look into their watch history to find out like this guy's watching all sorts of crazy stuff?
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
is
there's
that
a lot of
appropriate?
like couch experts, armchair experts on murder from those shows.
Yeah, it's like every other show on Netflix is something about murder.
Yeah.
So
I do think
I don't like those shows.
I tend to like them.
I like the old style murder mystery where they walk in, somebody's on the ground like, and then they, and then it's like figuring it out.
Yeah.
That's what I like. The newer ones, especially the real life ones, are so dark. I just I don't like the way I feel.
I
when
just like
watch
to
them.
think like what mistakes did they make and how could I correct those mistakes?
When you say mistakes, you don't mean the mistake that brought to them a point in life where they took someone else's life.
No.
You meant the mistake after.
Like they left DNA behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see.
You wear gloves. You don't murder someone without gloves
and
on.
a hairnet and shoes too big and gloves too small.
All of those things.
Yep.
Yeah. Who the heck is wearing a size 18 shoe?
Yeah. Looking for a killer giant.
Well, anyway, there's our OJ Simpson. It's
Murder, football.
murder, football, bad acting, and the white Bronco. I
think
can't
the
see a
white
white Bronco from that time period and not think of OJ.
Yeah, the two are connected.
Right?
Yeah.
Forever. That's.
Do you remember watching the chase?
Yeah, it was during the Rockets Knicks game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they broke.
95
There's
maybe?
video of like
Yeah.
everyone in the stadium like looking up, watching the
Yeah.
chase during. That
They
seems
stopped
so
the
crazy
game.
now.
I know it.
But it happened.
They stopped the game.
I remember it.
That's crazy.
That was a good series too.
It was a good series.
was,
It was
uh,
the 2
Hakeem-
years that Jordan was out.
Hakeem Olajuwon. Was that the second?
I can't remember.
I feel like it was the second because I think the first one was when they beat the Magic.
He came
Maybe
back
The
at
second
the,
one was.
I
they beat
think he
the
came
Magic.
back at the second half of the 93 season.
No. It was
Or not 93,
95.
95.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
But I know they beat the Magic and the Knicks. I don't remember which one was which. But I know that the second team had Clyde Drexler on it and the first team didn't. So
Yeah.
I don't know
And
what
was
that
Charles
matters.
Barkley on that team?
I don't. Chuck was not on that team yet because he's never gotten a championship. He's on the list.
Yeah.
Not OJ's list. That's a different list. So I don't know, Jason. Do we have X stuff we want to talk about, or
We
can
have some
launch
X stuff.
right into the gold that I came with
Yeah.
today?
So Boy Blob,
Boy Blob.
he asked us for.
You feel like it's Boy Blob or Boy Blob?
Well, sometimes it's Blob Boy.
Oh,
So technically, I don't know. He's changed it up a couple times.
all right.
The Mount Rushmore, and there's a follow up, but the Mount Rushmore of SNL comedians.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Now,
Oh,
the
gosh.
follow up is because you need to have this for context. The follow up is the Mount Rushmore of SNL characters. So, like Matt Foley, Van Down
I
by
got
the
you.
River would be a character,
I got it.
and
No, everybody
Chris
understands.
Farley-
You don't need to. It's
I'm
clear.
just-
You don't need to.
I'm letting. There's some people that might not know.
Well, they're stupid and they don't deserve an explanation.
Oh, okay. So, which
so
one
when
do you
you
want to
say-
tackle first? Comedians or characters?
Let's do comedians first. It might help us think of the characters.
Okay.
So when you say the specific thing that it says is Mount Rushmore of SNL comedians.
Yeah. So, are we talking like hosting?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a specific. Let's
Like-
just assume he's saying SNL cast members.
Okay, yeah.
Let's just assume he's saying that.
You were paid by SNL
to be
sketches.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to go back to the beginning, and it's hard. It would be hard not to say Chevy Chase is like the number one.
Except he was only there for like 2 years, right?
Yeah,
A
but
short
still,
time.
But if he wasn't there, would it have been what it became? He's literally the George Washington.
What about Belushi?
You could put Belushi there too. Yeah, I mean, I think in order to do this, you have to take one from every era, obviously excluding anything from 2000 on.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Obviously. Although there are some things that are funny still. But so I would say Chevy Chase. He was bigger than life back then. Steve Martin was never on. He was never a cast member.
But hosted like 12 times.
Hosted a lot, but not a cast member. So
Correct,
he doesn't, for me,
Yeah, no,
he doesn't
he's
apply.
not on the list.
So you'd have to go Chevy Chase. I think even above Belushi.
Yeah.
As much as everyone loved Belushi, Chevy Chase was everything.
Eddie Murphy?
So he would be my next one.
Yeah.
Eddie. So if Chevy, is
He's
the
the
George
OG.
Washington, and basically you could say it wouldn't have even existed if it wasn't for him. You could say it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Eddie Murphy too,
Yeah.
because
When
Lorne,
that first cast was gone.
well, and Lorne Michaels left.
Yeah.
So Lorne is gone for a few years before he comes back, and when he's gone, it's like, what are we going to do? And so they bring in, Joe Piscopo, okay, and Eddie Murphy, who is this 19-year-old phenom.
Yeah.
And so Eddie Murphy, when SNL was going to die, he saved it. There's never been a cast member as good as Eddie Murphy.
He was great.
Period.
Yeah.
He could have carried
I
every
love
show.
Stevie Wonder.
He could have carried every show by himself. He could be in every skit. He was
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah.
He was versatile. He wasn't a one-trick pony. So I love Chris Farley, and it's like I want to put him on the list, but
Yeah.
he can't be on this list.
Well, I mean, he could.
Well, listen, he's not going to be on this list. And you're not going to find many people that love Chris Farley more than I do, but just the breadth of his work.
So we've got the 70s covered. Mm-hmm. We've got the 80s covered.
Yeah.
So let's go the 90s.
So then you go, there's that cast that overlaps from the late 80s into the early 90s. And so you're talking Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who Dana Carvey, I know it's easy to underplay him because since SNL, he hasn't exactly had a stellar movie career.
Yeah.
Right? He's not really, made it in terms of that like Eddie Murphy did or like Chevy Chase did. But while he was on SNL, it'd be hard to find somebody. He did Church Lady on his opening sketch. It was the opening of the first show he was ever on.
Wow.
He does Church Lady.
Yeah.
And it's
Killer.
like, and he's off and running from
Yeah.
there. And he was in Wayne's World. He was like a huge deal. He did all of the presidents better than anybody.
It's true.
And
his
so
George Bush is great.
It's hard for me not to put Dana on there as an SNL
Mike
guy.
Myers?
Listen, I love Mike Myers and I love Phil Hartman, who was right
Phil
there
Hartman,
with them.
yeah.
And I mean, I like a lot of people that were there. But as far as
Collectively, that's
what
our
the
favorite
show needs,
cast, right?
yes,
Like that early
Yes.
mid-90s.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. That's my favorite. So what the show needs is someone who can do a lot. Now,
Like Rob Schneider.
I actually like Rob Schneider.
I do too.
Making copies. But yeah, he does not. Did you know Rob Schneider started off as an Elvis impersonator in Japan? Before he was on SNL.
That sounds made up.
It's not.
Yeah.
He lived in Japan and was an SNL Elvis impersonator. Apparently,
fun.
he does a pretty good Elvis.
Okay.
Anyway, do I love Rob Schneider? Sure. Do I love David Spade? Sure, I do. They don't belong on this list. I'm going to make a strong push for Dana Carvey, who was probably
Pretty good.
one of the most
Are we
versatile
going
that ever.
to put a female on the list?
No.
Next, Kate McKinnon or
Sure.
There were
Faye?
some great.
Listen, there have
ones.
been some. Kristen Wiig is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think Kate McKinnon is funny.
I think Tina Fey is funny.
Tina Fey was. I mean, she would. If I had to put, and I don't. If I
a DEI in this.
if I had to put a woman on this list,
Yeah.
I would put Tina Fey on the list.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Because she was a writer,
Yeah.
a very good writer.
I think Kristen Wiig's material is funny.
Kristen Wiig is a better comedian,
Yeah.
a comedic actor
Yeah.
than Tina Fey. But Tina Fey did
She
more
was
for the
smart.
show.
Yeah.
And then her Sarah Palin thing was like larger than life.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal at the time.
Okay, so the last one.
But it has to be Will Ferrell.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell is electric.
Yeah.
And he's funny. It was what Dana Carvey calls funny with the sound off. Right? Like, you don't even have to be hearing what he's saying, and he's making you laugh.
Yeah.
He's just funny.
he looks funny. Like
Yeah.
the cowbell, more cowbell.
Yeah.
He's got his like little gut hanging out, and
He
said more cowbell.
And the thing about him and Dana Carvey and Eddie Murphy that is all similar is absolute and total 100% commitment to whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
Now, Chevy's not that way. Chevy was cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, he could not have existed, I don't think, in any other era.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, not in the same way.
Not in the same way.
He would not have been as big. He would have been, I think, you put him in the show 15 years later, I think he's
Weekend
Kevin
Update.
Nealon.
Yeah, he's a Weekend Update.
Yeah. But he doesn't compete with these other guys, but he belongs because he's the OG.
He's Chevy.
So, but those three guys, Will Ferrell, Dana Carvey, Eddie Murphy, 110% total commitment.
Yeah.
Whatever they were doing,
Yeah.
if they were a woman, they were a woman. If they were a Chinese dude, they were over the top Chinese. Like whatever they were 100% committed.
Yeah.
So for me,
Okay.
that's it. That's the four. You could make a push for a lot of other people. I love Mike Myers. I love Phil Hartman. I love
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love Bill
fantastic.
Hader. Yeah.
You could make a push. I would say since Will Ferrell, if I had to put one person on since Will Ferrell, it probably would be
Bill Hader.
either Bill Hader or Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
You know,
what's the drummer guy?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I said it too fast.
Yeah, you said it too fast. I could see his face.
What's the drummer guy?
Shoot, he did Portlandia.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that does Portlandia? Why can't I think of this?
Have you seen his stand-up?
Anyway, the stand-up for drummers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It's
hilarious.
great.
Have you ever seen Portlandia?
Yeah.
Portlandia is hilarious.
When he breaks down the different speaking, the accents from the different places,
Yeah.
the different city. Oh my god.
Sean Pelton.
No.
Just look up Portlandia.
Come on, Jesse.
Why can't I think of his name? This is driving me crazy.
We're not gonna be able to move on till we get it.
I'm gonna. How do you not have this by now? All you had to do is Google Portlandia.
Well, because I Googled
What did you Google?
SNL drummer
No.
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen.
Armisen.
Gosh, Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen is hilarious.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
and some of his skits were phenomenally funny.
I think Fred Armisen and Bill Hader together are fantastic.
Yeah, they're really funny. But
They don't belong.
They're
on the
not
list.
Will Ferrell, Dana Carvey, Eddie Murphy.
No.
So
Okay.
that's the list. I love Chris Farley, sure.
Yeah.
But he was a one-trick pony.
Okay. Well, let's do the Mount Rushmore of SNL characters.
So you want to say Matt Foley belongs on that
Well,
list?
Van Down by the River is very quotable.
Yeah.
And you could almost make a case for Lunch Lady.
I would say on the Mount Rushmore of characters, it has to be a character that was in more than like it was a recurring character.
What
And
about
Lunch Lady was not.
What about Alex Trebek, Will Ferrell,
Will Ferrell, Alex
or
Trebek
Sean Connery?
was great.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery was great, but like
was
what
recurring.
made that funny?
Turd Ferguson.
I love Turd Ferguson. It's a funny name, Turd Ferguson. It's hilarious. It's funny. No, it's not. Alex Trebek was tremendous.
Yeah. Norm as Turd Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As so I would say Matt Foley probably does belong on that list. It's probably the most iconic
Yeah.
Chris Farley
Mr.
character.
Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yeah, Mr. Robinson was Gumby was great too.
Gumby was great.
And the Church Lady was
Church Lady was great.
When a Church Lady skit was on, like the place was like losing their mind. Like the entire studio was just going nuts the whole time. But I would say Wayne's World maybe even more than that.
Pretty iconic, yeah.
So I would say Wayne's World, just Wayne.
Yeah.
So I would go Matt Foley and Wayne for sure.
Yeah.
I do love the Alex Trebek is funny.
Like the Jeopardy sketch.
The Jeopardy sketch is funny, but what makes it funny is Will Ferrell playing Alex Trebek.
He plays
you could find a lot of 3 sets of people just to be goofy and funny, but he's what made it funny.
Yeah.
So maybe him, but definitely Matt Foley and
And we've just bypassed
Church Lady.
Adam Sandler altogether.
Yeah, what is his iconic sketch? I mean, is it the Opera Man? You know,
I don't know.
I don't think he has one that's like. I mean,
It's Adam
ringing my
Sandler.
bell. It's Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler, but that's not the category. The category is characters.
Yeah.
And I don't think has one character that just kind of like really rises.
His big
to the
thing
top.
was Weekend Update. He came on as different characters, and did his thing.
So I got
Gene Frankel. That's That's Will Ferrell's cowbell.
Yeah.
Cowbell.
Once again, not reoccurring.
Not
I need
reoccurring.
it for me. It needs to be look up SNL reoccurring characters, recurring characters. Now, Kristen Wiig had a couple.
Yeah.
The one that was really funny was the girl on the Lawrence Welk show. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Her hands were messed up.
And that was really funny. But she was also Gilly. Gilly was very funny.
Yeah.
She was funny there. The Target lady was a big deal, I guess, too, for her. I was not watching quite as much at that point.
Yeah, so when I type that in, I get Stefan. That's the Bill
Stefan,
Hader.
I love Stefan.
Stefan was a big deal. I was not watching as much at that time, so it's hard for me to know.
He's pretty
The church
iconic.
lady.
Yeah.
Garth Algar. Matt Foley. Debbie Downer.
Debbie Downer was funny.
Yeah.
Nick the Lounge Singer.
Okay.
Opera Man.
Opera Man would have been,
Roseanne Dana.
Oh, that's
Gilda.
That's Gilda Radner. Yeah, that's Roseanne. That actually, I want to put that one on the list. Roseanne Dana, because it's an OG thing. We have to pull one from back then, and so we'll go Gilda Radner's Roseanne Dana, and then we'll say Wayne, and we'll say Matt Foley, and then for my fourth one I would say Church Lady.
Church Lady. I really like Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Mr. Robinson was great.
Who is it?
Yeah, it was funny, but I would say I think the Church Lady was a bigger deal.
Hey, boys and girls.
Buckwheat.
This is the land.
It was funny. Oh, Buckwheat.
Oh,
He did Buckwheat more than once.
yeah.
Wookin' Panub and all the wrong paces. Wookin' Panub. Buckwheat sings that. That was really.
And he breaks
would
down
do
the
this
down
thing.
the assassination of
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was good. He would do this thing with his eyes when he played Buckwheat, where he could get dumber
just
by like changing.
The Unfrozen.
Oh, the
Caveman
Unfrozen
Lawyer.
Caveman Lawyer might be my favorite sketch
Is that
of
Phil
all
Hartman?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I might be, and it's like very condescending.
Hans and Franz.
Ooh, Hans and Franz
Yeah.
was good. Hans and Franz
There's a
was
lot of good ones.
There's a lot of good ones.
Okay, so what's the final?
let's say
Samurai.
Roseanne Dana, Wayne. I'm going to say Wayne,
Church Lady.
Church Lady, and Matt Foley.
Okay.
The Coneheads.
The Coneheads was great
It's
too.
pretty iconic.
But those are mine.
Yeah.
Those are mine. Now, another SNL category we could do is SNL impressions, like who aren't necessarily characters.
Like Dana Carvey's George Bush.
Dana Carvey's George Bush is it.
And,
It's like
Will Ferrell George W.
Will Ferrell's George W. Probably Phil Hartman's Clinton was my favorite.
Well, Daryl Hammond.
Daryl, I know, but I think Phil's was funnier. I think Daryl's was better.
Yeah.
But I think Phil's
Daryl
was
Hammond did pretty good Al Gore.
He did a great Al Gore. Daryl Hammond is a great impressionist, but he's not as funny, I don't think, as
Phil
those other
Hartman's
guys. Now, Phil Hartman also did a great Reagan. I don't know if you ever saw his Reagan. His Reagan was really good. I don't know as much. So the impressions back in the 70s, they
It
didn't.
was not as good. Like Chevy Chase did Ford.
Yeah, they would just open
This
it.
is
They would
stupid.
just open up the sketch by saying, "Hi, I'm Gerald Ford," because you didn't know. Like he had to, and he wasn't
okay.
even trying to sound like him.
Gerald Ford, I
Hey,
guess.
I'm Gerald Ford, and then they're off and running. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like a strict.
If you have to
impression.
announce who you are, you're not doing the impression that good.
So as far as impressions go, I'm if we're going chronologically, the first one that knocked it out of the park is Stevie Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
His Stevie Wonder.
You are black and I am white.
You are blind as a bat, and I have sight. That was groovy thinking, Lincoln, when you set them free. That is such a funny skit.
That is fantastic.
Him and Joe Piscopo together. Joe Piscopo is doing a great Frank Sinatra there, but his Stevie Wonder is on point.
Yes.
He's more like Stevie Wonder than Stevie Wonder is.
Yes.
So I would say Stevie Wonder, George W. Bush,
Yeah, and then George Bush.
then George H.W. Bush or whatever his name is. And then we got to pick one more. And I would say
Tina
iconic.
Fey.
It's Tina Fey, Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We want to
Listen,
just
I
go
could
do
talk about
SNL
SNL.
hosting.
The host? Okay, let's do the Mount
Steve
Rushmore
Martin.
host. I don't know how interesting. If you don't like SNL, then none of this.
I don't. Okay, we'll finish up on that.
Or if you were born post 1990.
Well, go back and watch it.
Yeah,
but go back and watch.
Literally
I will
all
be.
of it's on Peacock. Like you can go back and watch every single SNL episode. So let's do the Mount
Just real
Rushmore of
quick.
host real quick.
Steve
It's Steve Martin. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, he's it. And then I would say probably Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
I would say Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And
Got one more.
And then maybe, so, obviously my bias is coming through.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the more current ones. But I would say that John Goodman would be on my list.
Okay.
Because
That's fine.
he hosted a lot and he was fantastic. So that would be my list. But Steve Martin is it. I mean, he's the best host that's ever been.
Okay. This may or may not go anywhere. I don't know. Giblis wants to know, what's the Mount Rushmore of underused words or phrases?
It's hard to know.
Because we don't say them.
Mm-hmm.
Titillating.
Titillating.
Yeah. I use that with, I don't know, friend of the show, Jordan, maybe. I don't know if he listens anymore.
I don't know.
But I used it in a sentence once, and he was just kerfuffled.
Mm.
And so every time
That's
I
number
saw him,
2 for
yeah.
underused words.
Tiddlywinks and kerfuffles.
Underused words. Underused words that are not used enough.
Yeah. I like using the word tumultuous.
Mm.
And what does that mean to you, Jason?
You'd know if you saw it.
Sure. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't have anything for this. My in-laws are in town. Jason.
Yeah.
Still.
That's an overused word.
My in-laws are in town. No one likes to hear that.
My mother-in-law just left after being here
That's
for 6
what you
weeks.
want to hear.
Woo!
So, but seriously,
If she's watching, it's all good.
if she's not watching, no,
She occasionally watches.
My in-laws in town, and they're actually some of our most loyal watchers.
Yeah.
Of the show.
They could have been watching live.
They could have been.
We can get him down here right now.
No, we don't
No?
need to do that.
All right.
Make everybody would be uncomfortable. But they are big fans of the show.
Yeah.
I think they watch every episode, and it's been fun because they've kind of had the Lauer Road Radio tour.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
we're
yeah.
driving on Church Street the other day, and Susan goes, "Oh, I know this. This is the speed hump."
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we talked about the speed hump. She's
Yeah.
like, "Is this the one that you were?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, this is the one."
But it's actually a bump.
It's actually a bump, and so we talked about that, So, and there've been a few things where she's like, "Oh, this is what you're talking about with this," and so I think it's been a lot of fun for them. It's kind of like if I visited SNL and I got to see all the stuff behind the scenes, how excited I would be.
30 Rock.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
even more so. That's how excited they are.
Yeah. That's Marion, Ohio.
It's it's something.
Yeah. Oh, there's the speed humps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So they've gotten the tour, which has been fun. And I pretty much show, and there've been a couple times I'm like, well, that's it, So
You're like, and this is the Wendy's that Jason was complaining about the turn-in on.
yeah.
This is where you can't turn left, and this is where the girl said I had beautiful eyes.
You cannot turn left there though now.
no,
It's
no,
a
I
literal
do all the
impossibility.
time. Yes.
Didn't they put like block?
No, you're thinking Delaware Avenue.
Oh, I'm thinking Delaware Avenue.
Marion Mount Vernon.
Oh, that's the one where
That's
you
the
can't.
one that you're
oh,
not
I
supposed
turn
to-
left there.
Yes.
all the time.
All the time. Gotta see your special lady.
Hey, listen, you gotta get my compliments where I can get them. Anyway, so they're in town, and that's a lot of fun. We went out to eat last night to BJ's Brew House, I think was the name of it. Very good food at BJ's
Where's that at?
in Polaris. It's a chain. I've been to others, but I was so hungry. I overate last night. I have a problem with food. I knew I was overeating, and I couldn't stop. I didn't eat a lot that day.
Were they mini chimneys?
No, listen, I wish they had mini chimneys. No, BJ's was very good. I got a big burger. It was like a brisket burger.
Ooh,
it was the size of my face,
Yeah.
and I ate all my fries. And and then I'm just like searching out. I'm like, Abby, you gonna eat those chicken wings? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you're not gonna now. And so I'm like down in chicken wings and other people's. And as I'm doing, I'm like, I don't need to do this, but I was so hungry earlier.
You're carbing up for your marathon.
I guess I'm carbing up for the marathon. So, yeah. So I have a real problem, and the food took a little bit longer to get there than I would have liked.
So you doubled up on the rolls.
And they didn't have rolls.
What?
So I'm just sitting there like an idiot, drinking a seltzer water. Like, why am I not? eating food yet. And so you play all these games. The thing that I do is I always take a trip to the restroom.
Yeah.
I got to waste some time. I don't even really need to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk around the whole restaurant, and 5 waiters are going to tell me, hey, the restroom's over there. I'm like, yeah, I got it, guy. Okay. I'm taking a look at this picture over here of Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe or whatever. So I go to the restroom, and I really waste my time, wash my hands real good, just kind of stretch out a little
Will
bit.
Ferrell's Harry Carey was pretty good too.
Harry Carey. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
pretty good. That's pretty
move
good.
on.
I don't think it belongs on the list, but
it just
pretty good.
Popped up in my head.
So, so I waste some time, and then finally the food gets there, and I know I need to eat less, Jason.
Yeah.
I know that.
You're talking life less.
And I know
life
just
and life.
in life, I just don't need to eat as much. Yeah. And I know that the amount of food that I'm getting, I haven't really eaten today that much. And so this is an appropriate amount of food. I got a burger and fries. I eat that. It's not, I shouldn't do it every day, but it's not like crazy. But I'm in a mode of just consuming food like a Wolverine that's just come out of hibernation or something. And it's a real problem. I have an unhealthy relationship with food.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and do you think I can do this?
No.
I think I'm going to try and do a 7-day water fast where for 7 days straight, all I do is drink water.
Dan, you and I did a
3-day.
3-day? Dude, by the end of day 2, he was cranky.
I wanted to murder everybody. I was very mad.
7, the way the numbers work, 7 is more than double 3.
Well, they say
once you get over the hump, you're
they say
good.
once you get to day 4 or 5 that like your body switches and you hit a different thing. And so I want to do it because they say a 7-day fast is good for you. I saw this dude who's like a Boston University doctor person or something, and he said if you go on a 7-day fast once in your life, you're 80% less likely to get cancer than people because your body gets into this thing where it's like getting rid of waste and stuff.
Does it count when we were little and didn't have enough money to buy food?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
And so
because I'm pretty sure there was a 7-day stretch there, like mid 80s.
Sure.
It was pretty tight there for a little bit.
I don't remember that, but
you slept most of the time.
yeah, I was
so hungry.
So I'm gonna try
out in the garden,
but
pulling
I don't know.
cucumbers.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I can do it.
Well, I don't know. Because before our 3-day fast, I did a 5-day fast, and day 5. I felt great.
Yeah, that's what
They say.
The
problem was that I had to cook food for a family get together, and
That's
if you're
when you
cooking,
fell off the
you
wagon.
gotta eat some to taste
You
it.
got to get high on your own supply.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and I did.
Yeah.
So, but day 5, I felt pretty good.
But you made up for those 5 days, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, I know.
in
See,
one
that's-
setting.
That's my problem too, and that's where I got to get my mind into this place where, like, when this 7-day fast is over, I'm going to do it after my half marathon. When this 7-day fast is over, I cannot have this mentality like I got to make up for lost time.
I have an idea.
Okay.
What if you did a 7-day food fast,
Okay.
except
All right.
the only food you're allowed to eat is food that you hate, like cream of wheat or
I don't mind cream of wheat.
you're not a cream of wheat.
Triscuits.
I like a Triscuit.
I love Triscuits. Yeah.
You might find that I'm not a very
Picky eater.
picky eater. I'm kind of like a
Turns out I like food.
Yeah.
I'm like a raccoon.
But you're not a cream of wheat fan.
I don't mind
So-
cream of wheat,
What's the one food
especially
that you
after
don't,
3 days.
you don't like?
The one food that I don't like. Erica gave me some kimchi earlier today.
I don't even know what that is.
It's Korean.
I'm out.
Yeah.
It is what's the word? It's not. I want to say. Well, I don't want to say fertilized. It's not fertilized. It's when it like goes
Deep
bad.
fried.
No,
Stir fried.
No, it's like
No.
it's like what they do to cabbage.
Ferment.
Fermented.
Yeah, it's fermented cabbage with some Korean seasonings and spices and stuff in it. Fermented cabbage. It was not good.
That sounds like it would be a negative calorie thing. I feel like
Probably
immediately
is.
you're in the bathroom.
Apparently, it's really good for your, I don't know, everything or whatever.
So that's what I'm saying. What if you did a 7-day
Oh.
fast, but you could only eat that?
Only eat kimchi.
Yeah.
It might ruin my system. Like it might ravage me.
I went 30 days one time and only ate oatmeal
Really?
in 2002.
You're such an extreme, weird person.
Listen,
Did
I
you
lost
put-
like
Yeah, of course you did.
20 pounds.
Yeah, of course you
You
did.
also had to go to the hospital.
I was
Yeah.
pooping all the time.
Yeah.
It was great. It was honestly a great experiment.
Okay. Well,
I did it because I was poor.
The 7-day water fast they say it's very good for you. So I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll see. Maybe I'll be able to do it. Maybe I won't. But either way, I did run today because I'm training for my half marathon.
Yeah.
And
in the rain.
In the rain, it was soaking wet the whole time. And about 2.5, 3 miles in, I start to get some Andy Bernard nipple chafage. It was really, I think it had something to do with the kind of shirt that I was wearing and the fact that my shirt was soaking wet because of the rain.
Did you have like the alligator polo thing? It was like stitched on. It was
no,
like rubbing
it was
on you.
just it was like one of those kind of like moisture wicking athletic type shirts. But I think the material, just the rubbing of the material, and it was wet, so it was kind of heavy. And so I had another shirt in the car because I knew I would be wet. And I didn't want to wear a wet shirt home. So I switched out the shirt, and when I took off my shirt, blood dripping down.
Oh.
Like I was bleeding from my nipples. It was horrible. And they're a bit sensitive now, if I'm honest. I actually
For the
found
next
myself.
2 days,
I was
every
in
time we see Dan, just give him a little honk.
I was in a church meeting tonight, and I found myself I was like in front of people, and I found myself like holding my. I was like, I was like, stop doing that. But it's like the only way the pain can go away. It's like I just lift them up.
Anyone have any Vaseline?
You might need to wear a bra.
Well, I've looked into it.
A man bra.
They do make special
runners,
like pads that you can friend of the show, Riley, said that she would give me some of her lactation pads.
Okay.
So I might just take those. So she's a mother, and I think that they're done with that phase, so she's not going to need them anymore. So, maybe I'll use lactation pads. I don't know. Actually, this did happen. Did I ever tell this story?
I don't know.
This did happen once before. I was wearing. This is actually kind of funny. This was last fall. Maybe summertime. Actually, it was summertime because it was a hot day. So it might have been like September. And I had a bright yellow shirt, like a bright, like construction yellow shirt. Yeah. And this is the first and only other time that I've ever literally bled. And I'm running at Harding at the high school, and I'm running around the laps. I think I ran 4 miles that day. And about 2 or 3 miles in, I was like, man, but I'm just going to run through it. It's just pain. It's not that big a deal. And I get done running. I'm walking to my car, and they're doing football practice over there. And one of the moms of the kids is like walking to her car, and we just walk past each other. And she looked at me. She gave me this weird look.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I must look like I'm dying.
Yeah.
Because I'm out of shape now, but I was really bad out of shape then. And I was like, I must look like death. And then I get in the car and look down, and through my yellow shirt is just like these two big drips of blood, like coming through the yellow. I'm just like. It looked like he had made it up, and so that's the look that I was getting from her. I'm like, that's why she was looking at me funny.
And you're like, it's okay. I just got him pierced. It's fine.
It's fine. It's nothing weird. That's one of the great. I don't actually love Jim Gaffigan anymore. His newer stuff.
Yeah.
He's gone a bit woke, annoyingly so. But one of his great lines is about when you see somebody at McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know that line? When he's like, you're so embarrassed that you're McDonald's that you come up with an excuse as to why you're there that's actually worse, but it sounds better. He's like, you see somebody that you know at McDonald's, like, I'm not here to eat. I'm here to see a hooker. So, Jim Gaffigan. Funny guy, used to be. So, anyway.
Still a hit on Netflix.
That's that. Netflix suggestion of the week. Let's do it.
Netflix, watch these shows with us. Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Netflix, watch these shows with us. Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Or maybe Amazon Prime or something like that, like YouTube. We don't want to put a box around what you watch, so you never know.
Jason, what is your Netflix suggestion of the week?
Okay, I teased it. Don't say it.
You
I
did
teased it, but I'm going to save it again for next week.
And you still like it?
Yeah.
Did you watch more
I
of it?
finished it.
Oh, you finished it?
Yeah, I finished. It's a season.
It's good.
It is good. I liked it. Did you watch it yet?
No, I'm waiting for you to talk about it.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
So this is what I'm going to do this week. So this just released on Tubi.
Okay.
Dave Landau's special, A Prison 10. It's an hour long. It's free on Tubi. You can purchase it on Amazon and some of the other sites for
Former guest.
$5. Yeah, former guest
show.
of the show. And so I like Dave. I think he's very funny. He is dark, and some of the comedy in this particular stand-up is not kid-friendly. It is beyond PG-13 into the R range. But I like Dave. I think he's funny. And I think the reason why I like Dave, I think...
That's because he came on our show.
Because he came on our show. And most people have rejected that. I mean, we've asked so many people.
All of them, actually.
We've asked all of the people. And all of them say, no, I'm not going on your stupid
The only one we didn't ask is Jesse, and he won't stop coming.
Here I is.
No, I was going to say, Dave feels like a real guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of these guys that are in that realm of fame, they're not real. Like, they're not real with you. It's always a put on. But I feel like with Dave,
I thought
like,
of someone
he
I
is just
wanted
who
to
he is.
ask to be on the show today that was like a famous person that I thought, you know what, they might actually do it. But I don't
Well, we've
remember
talked
who
about it
is.
before. I really want to see Dusty Slay.
I
really
love Dusty. I think Dusty would come on the
and
show.
I think he would flow with us.
Oh, I know
very
who
well.
it is. You know, I think if we had the right avenue for him, I believe Kevin James would come on the show.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he would like our show, and I think
I think he would fit along with us fantastically.
Yes.
He may just move to Marion and
we're
be
the same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
His nipples bleed too.
He's just much more successful than we are. Other than that, we're exactly the same.
Yeah.
So Dave Landau.
Dave
stand-up.
Landau. It's called A Prison 10,
And go back in the archives and watch the Dave Landau episode
which is
on
episode 151.
who's keeping track, but 151 should have been 150. Would have been
Well,
better.
152 is Amy What's-Her-Face. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got a couple of them.
Encyclopedic memory. You're like Rain Man.
What's your Netflix suggestion?
Okay, so my Netflix suggestion of the week is it's baseball. So baseball's back.
The boys are back in town.
Boy, guess who just got back today? So I do like baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, Ray. And I saw that was so I earlier I said my in-laws are in town.
Yeah.
And so when they're around or when I'm there at their house, you know, there's a lot of there are people playing cards and talking and sitting around and stuff. So it's not like you can just watch like a movie or a TV show.
You need background stuff.
And so I like to watch baseball, so I can watch baseball with the sound off. And so I just turn on a baseball game, and that way I can talk or whatever, converse. And it doesn't, if I miss a little bit, I miss a little bit. But so there is an add-on on Amazon Prime for the MLB network. So you can get all the MLB games through Amazon. And it's $30 a month.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
It's every MLB game,
but
which is
not
like
blackout.
Yeah, I can't watch the Indians or the Reds, which is
stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. But anyway, so I got it, and it expired. Well, as you say, I thought it expired today, but it turns out it expired yesterday. So I've got it for another month. Don't tell Erica.
But you still got BritBox. You
I still got
canceled that?
BritBox.
Oh, you got both of them.
Yeah, we're watching a lot of every night because my in-laws are in town. We gave them our bedroom, so Eric and I are sleeping on the couch, and so I fall asleep watching television. She does not. Every night we've been watching a Poirot, and I fall asleep about 15 minutes in. Yeah. And she stays awake for the whole thing. And so every morning we've had the same conversation. I was like, who was the killer? Who did it? It was the butler, wasn't it? It was the butler. She's like, no, it was the sister. I'm like, the sister? Wow. So anyway, so we've been literally every single night this week. Yeah. We've turned on a Poirot before we go to bed. I fall asleep about 15 minutes, just enough to find out who got killed and who I think it is. Yeah. And then I wake up in the morning like, who was it? So, but anyway, so my suggestion is baseball, and I love baseball. Yeah. It's a lot of fun to watch for me. Not for everybody. Yeah. Jesse?
Still on Suits, getting close to the end, but I did decide to watch The Last Dance. So I've been watching
the Jordan thing.
The Michael Jordan.
That's a
the
great
Bulls
documentary.
Yeah,
it's 7, 8 parts.
I think it's 8. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's one thing. My favorite part about it is when they get into the Rodman, like bringing Rodman in. Because if you watch the Bad Boys Pistons doc, Rodman's a big part of it, and like it's like they overlap,
Right.
And so it's like you get part of the Rodman story. I think they should do maybe they have a full documentary on
Rodman.
just Rodman.
Yeah.
I think that would be
His story
very
is
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah, and he played for a great Spurs team too.
Yeah.
And the Lakers.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. It's interesting that, Jesse watches these because like he's watching, but you weren't at the time.
No,
What year were you born?
93.
93.
So,
So yeah, he was not conscious.
I missed
When was
the
the
first
Dream
three-peat.
Team?
Dream Team was 94.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you were 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting from your perspective. I saw. Have you seen this? The John C. Reilly Showtime thing.
No.
So they made a movie it's like a limited series on HBO. I think it's called Showtime, and it's about the Lakers from the '80s, and it stars John C. Reilly as Buss. What's his name? Jeannie Buss is the daughter.
Gary?
Gary Buss.
Jerry Buss.
Jerry Buss.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly plays Jerry Buss,
Okay.
The owner of the Lakers, and he took them apparently in the 70s and then, drafts Magic, and then they become great. And he looks funny in it. I saw a preview for it, and it looks really interesting, but it's rated R, and there's going to be a lot of there's a lot of, it's L.A., it's the 80s, people are doing coke and, all sorts of stuff. And AIDS is going to be a part of the story. How can it not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be. So
It's L.A. in the 80s.
it's very. I
Coke
wish,
and AIDS, that's
I
all
wish
it
it
is.
wasn't so. I mean, I know that you can't. I'm not saying that they shouldn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
But it seems sensationalized in a way that I'm probably not going to watch it. But it looked fascinating to me. So that was a crazy good team. And the guy that they got playing Larry Bird looks just like
Is it
Larry Bird.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, I wish.
I saw a list, and I don't remember any of the names, but for that guy in the NCAA
Yeah.
tournament, like there's a lot of really good ones
He's
for
great.
him.
He's great. He's got those goggles. He's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
Jason,
Okay.
we're running out of time.
So, I mean, I've got more stuff.
All right.
Some
Well,
of the stuff I was going to save.
Well, I've got gold. I mean, but
Do you
I,
wanna-
I could waste a little thing if you want.
Do you tell me. I've got a would you rather that I think is pretty good.
Okay.
Unless you would rather go with your thing.
We'll go with your would you rather because my stuff is so good that you're just not even going to believe it.
Okay. So I'm coming from a parent's perspective on this, which
Yeah.
we're most of us in this room are parents. And would you rather step in something gooey or step on something spiky?
So I'm assuming we don't have a shoe on.
No, you're basically let's say socks.
You
let's
walk
say
in,
you're wearing
you wake
socks.
up 2 a.m,
Yeah.
go into the bathroom,
Now listen,
barefoot.
it's unknown substance, so it's unknown gooey or unknown spiky.
Gooey, not liquid. Gooey.
Gooey.
Okay. And it squishes between your toes.
Yeah.
Or something spiky. Are we talking Daniel's? Are we talking?
I'm thinking like Matchbox car, Lego,
okay.
like
All right.
something that it hurts when you step on.
I'd honestly rather take a Matchbox car, a Lego, over something gooey.
I would too.
Yeah, yeah. I stepped on a car today before I came here
Yeah.
because today's Ollie's birthday, and so he got some little racetrack, and he left a car in front of the bathroom under a blanket.
Like Home Alone style, and you went flying.
And then, no, I stepped on it, said a couple 4-letter words, but then after that, you're done.
You're done.
You don't
That-
got to stick your foot in the shower.
That
and-
scene when Daniel Stern puts his foot in the nail
Oh yeah,
on
the tar,
on
the
Home
steps.
Alone, the tar, and
yeah.
the way that it's just like slow motion and it goes, and I mean I feel it in my foot.
I've stepped on a
every
nail.
time. It's
And
no
I
good.
feel it,
It's
yeah.
no good. It's no good. So if I have to pick gooey, or now if I had to pick wet or Matchbox car, maybe I take wet, maybe, but I don't want any part of gooey.
Gooey could be anything.
Gooey, I don't want. I'm not interested in
Yeah,
gooey.
and we have a new puppy at home,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're working on potty training. It's like step in puppy poop
And you
or
got
a
boys.
Lego.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I got
just-
me.
Not
yeah,
interested.
no.
That's your-
I'm with you. Yeah, I do spiky all day. You
Yeah.
know, short moment of pain,
Yeah.
but unknown gooey substance. I can't think of something
Yeah,
worse to
because then
step
you
in.
can't even just clean it off your foot and move on. You've got to clean it up off the floor too.
Yeah, because you're gonna step in again.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Or you just let your wife find it.
Well, that's
And they're
another
like,
Find
thing to
it.
do.
and you're like, oh, that's horrible. Who did this?
Yeah.
You know,
What
she's like, it
unknown
looked like.
gooey
She says it looks like someone stepped in it already. What? Are you telling me somebody's kids? Come here.
It's a size 18 shoe.
That's how you play.
Who did this?
No, Dad, we saw you step in it last night. Shut up. You're adopted.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. Well, I mean,
that's a show.
it's a show.
That's a show. That's it.
You know.
Don't you think?
Yeah. I
I'm not trying to prove anything here. We would like to invite Kevin James on the show.
Yeah.
We would like to invite Nate Bargatze on the show.
Dusty Slay.
We'd love to invite Dusty Slay on the show.
Candace Owens.
I'd like to talk to her right now.
Now?
I'd like to hear what she's got to say about the whole deal. Now, I'm not interested in having Ben Shapiro on the show. Not interested.
You know, we've talked about it before, but I think we should have a whiteboard.
He's annoying. Yeah.
We need a whiteboard with our guest desires.
Desires.
I don't know.
know.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Our bucket list.
Oh, there
of
it is.
guests.
Of guests, yeah.
Well, let's get a 5-gallon bucket and with a Sharpie write on it names, and then as they come, we'll cross them off.
Okay. I like it.
Cross it off our bucket list. Well, Candace Owens can be on that list. I got no problem with that. I'm interested in what she has to say. I'm not the biggest Candace Owens fan. Here's what I think about Candace Owens.
Why don't you like Candace Owens?
Real quick. Here's my take on Candace Owens. It's not because she's black. Okay,
It's because she's a girl.
mostly. No, I feel like what happened with Candace Owens is that she was everything that the conservative kind of wing or the side on the right wanted in a spokesperson. She was young.
Yeah.
She was pretty.
Yeah.
She was black, and she's a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, and like fiery, like
We call that the trifecta.
And so, even though it's more than three things,
Yeah.
Quadfecta.
so she was like, yes, but I think she's smart.
Yeah.
She's very smart,
Yeah.
but I think she was too young, and I think it happened too fast.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I think she has to prove herself.
Yeah.
When I see her talking, I think sometimes she's trying to prove her intelligence in a way that I don't think reflects well on her. I think she's smart, but I don't think she's as smart as she wants to be or as people want her to be. And that's not her fault, by the way. And I think that's where she got in trouble because I think she overcompensates a little bit.
So you're telling her to read a book.
I think she's probably read a lot more books than some people have read. So I think she's incredibly intelligent, but I just think she got too big too fast.
No, I got you.
That's what I
Checks
think.
out.
But Candace, we'd love to have you on the show.
She's on a couple of my lists.
That's a show. This is Dan signing off for Jason, reminding you to always keep your stick on the ice and never wear the blue sweats.
Sit, Bubba, sit. Good dog.
I have spoken.
Good night, Lauer Patch Kids. And especially you, Mr. Sean's, on the X. It's SEANS. Not the right way. The disappointment in Dan's face.